Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luke of Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks podcast.
Hey, anybody order a Future Justice? That's right, kids. Welcome back to Unlimited Justice, your Justice League, your Justice Society podcast. But for the next few weeks, we're going to be doing Legion of Superheroes because that's right, it's Sub-tember. Lilith is away, so don't tell her what we're doing. And remember, if the whole thing gets us in trouble, blame it on Ray. Joining me, my co-host from Sector 2814, the Green Lantern podcast, and a lot of projects you will hear at the end of this show, Mr. Will Allred himself.
Well, hey, thanks for inviting me to the insanity.
Hey, no problem. I've been wanting to read more Legion. Like I said, that's one of the holes in my reading of Marvel and DC's Legion. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. I know Will's a fan of Legion. Let's do some Legion.
You know, they mentioned we're going to get there. They mentioned the Wanderers, but that reminded me that he only did an issue and a half of Quasar, which is a title that's near and dear to both of our hearts. But the late Steve Lytle was a Legion artist for quite a long time, as well as on the Wanderers.
Oh, nice.
So it's all connected back to Quasar. Quasar is the center of the universe, right?
Always. Exactly.
What about our Quasar podcast, Quantum Zone?
I was recording some Batman with Justin last night, and I was like, I forget how I did. I just brought up the Quantum Zone, and I was like, kids, I'm like, the easiest way to listen to all that, go to our YouTube channel. There's a playlist of over 150 episodes. Yes. Because he was like, did you guys do the whole series? I said, yeah, we did the whole series. We did Avengers issues.
Did Project Pegasus.
Every part of Operation Galactic Storm.
That's a big honking deal.
That was 18, 19 parts? Yeah.
Yeah. Big deal.
Yes, we did that. One issue a week, kids.
We didn't do all of it. We just did bits and pieces of Infinity Gauntlet, didn't we?
Yeah, we did the Quasar tie-ins. I think we did the main series. I don't think we did any other tie-ins. Although we will be soon when we do when you catch our 2-part Wonder Man special also this month in Sub-tember. So
awesome art by Jeff Johnson on that series. I love that series so much.
That's right. It's gonna be a bunch of old men talking about the 90s kids. Two of us, Justin the Outlaws, good, and of course the king of sausage himself, Ray.
Hey, wait! I've heard about his favorite character, but I can't remember his name.
Batman, my favorite character.
I know, but we're gonna force him to talk some Marvel.
Sausage.
Oh my god, he always says he's too busy to do more projects, but meanwhile, Justin and Russell talked him into doing a podcast about one of his other favorite characters. They're doing a podcast on the Predator.
Oh, I think I saw that. Yeah.
That's what I said. No matter how busy Ray is, if you bring up one of his favorite characters, he'll jump in.
He'll actually create more time in a day.
Yes. I just know I can set it. I know the perfect trap to set for him too. If you want to podcast with Ray and anyone, this goes for anyone. Just say you want to start a podcast about either Hercules or Tigra. Yeah, he's in.
He's down. Okay, that's cool.
Those some of his favorite characters.
Well, speaking of Marvel, did you get a chance to see She-Hulk last week?
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, it was delightful.
Yes, it was good. I liked it.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it was only 38 minutes, man. They packed a lot in there for 38 minutes.
There's something I haven't researched it yet, but there's the spoilers. There's that point where she breaks the fourth wall and talks to it, and she surprises herself. I'm curious about that. And then of course she talks to the audience, during the episode as well. But that was like the first time it happened, and I was like, okay, she seemed to surprise herself. What does that mean?
I know. Have to get her to meet Deadpool one day.
Yeah.
But Daredevil's showing up at some point.
In the red and gold.
I think they said that, She-Hulk is 9 episodes instead of 6, so we're gonna get a few more.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's cool. And we got Titania in the first episode.
Yes, at the end, yeah. Who are you? Oh, all right. I have to brag to you because I've been bragging to everyone else, Lilith and everyone else. Yeah, I went on Amazon. I was looking up. I've seen it in the store for full price before, but the Savage She-Hulk Omnibus,
Oh, okay.
which has the 25 issues of the original Savage She-Hulk run, and then there's like a random or a Marvel 2-in-1 issue that she's in. So yeah, like 26. Yeah, it's like it's one of those hardcover omnibuses. Cover price $100. I got it on Amazon for $62.
Nice. Very nice.
I know, because I said, Lil said sometimes they have like flash sales like that. She goes, if you see them, do it because they don't last long. So
yeah. I never read the Savage She-Hulk, but I loved Sensational She-Hulk. When John Byrne took it over, and then when he came back after some other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was awesome series. And then the more recent series with, was it Dan Slott that wrote? I think it was Dan Slott that wrote it with Bobbio. I can't remember the artist's name, but it was basically the She-Hulk Attorney at Law series. Which was, like 10 years ago, maybe. Yeah,
they're pulling a lot from that. Yeah, because there's one now. There's a current one now with Rainbow Rowell. She's basically She-Hulk's hanging out with Jack. Jack of Hearts is back.
Oh, okay, that's good.
It's basically like, how are you back? I don't know. I can't remember.
Cool. Let's just go with it.
They're trying to piece that together, but no, I'm interested to dive in. I'm only like 3 issues into the Savage She-Hulk thing, but because I wish I'd struck earlier, but I guess the man who wrote most of those issues, David Anthony Kraft? I think he passed last year, so I
think so, yeah.
Just missed him. But it's interesting because he had a foreword in the book, which I don't know where he wrote it, but he says that like the first issue, I mean, they created the She-Hulk, so they didn't lose like that. It was around 1980. It was around the time when Bill Bixby's Hulk was out.
Yeah,
and they didn't want to like lose the rights to the TV production for the She-Hulk, so they created their own. So issue 1, Stan Lee wrote that story, and then from issue 2 on, he just handed it off to David Anthony Kraft. He's like, here, and in this intro, he said, they basically just gave me a blank slate. Stan wrote the origin, then he says, pretty much do whatever you want with it. So.
Well, that's cool because she started showing up in Roger Stern. Well, no, I think it was Roger Stern's Avengers, or right before Stern got on the Avengers.
Yeah,
because she was flirting a lot with Hawkeye. I remember that from like the early two teens, 220, maybe it's 220.
Yeah. Wasn't it like was it right before or around the same time that Monica Rambeau joined?
Yep, I think it was around the same time. Yeah. Great issues. From very, it's crazy that I don't know. For instance, these Legion of Superhero issues are 40 years old.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I read this is like the first time I read these. I mean, they held up, even pre-crisis. I mean, but again, set 1,000 years in the future, you're not tied to like a ton of different other books and stuff. I mean, we'll see. We'll see in these. They mention stuff from the past in a big way, but you're not tied to like 50 other monthly books and.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had Superboy and you had Supergirl, which was cool.
And, but again, it's time travel. You could basically
you can get away with about anything with time travel.
Exactly. I was going to say, should we jump into these? Because
let's do it.
5 issues. There's a lot here.
Double sized.
And I'll probably have questions for these. All right. The first. All right. The Great Darkness Saga, kids, begins in.
Let me preface it before we get started with
Hmm.
one thing. Around this time, the Legion was one of the most popular series on the shelves. I think this was about the same time that DC was winning because New Teen Titans, I think, was out.
Yeah.
Legion of Superheroes, and then these series were so popular they get relaunched on the thicker paper, the higher quality stuff. I think they
Yeah.
call them the Baxter books or whatever. But yeah, the Legion was a big deal.
Well, yeah, in like the early mid '80s, didn't they say that was like the big war between Marvel and DC every month? I
Yeah.
mean, it was well. I mean, I guess you had in Legion too, but it was like what I heard. It was always like Teen Titans versus X-Men.
Yep. Yep. Which is a great crossover.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, so Legion of Superheroes, number 290. Back in the days when we didn't renumber kids.
Yeah, this used to be Superboy, a Superboy series that was in Superboy and the Legion, and then just Legion.
Wow. All right, Legion of Superheroes 290, August 1982. So yes, we are pre-crisis.
40 years exactly.
Oh, that's right. Damn, August too. I know. Yeah. Great Darkness Saga, Chapter 1, and the Servant Shall Be a Sign. Writer Paul Levitz, penciler Keith Giffen, inker Larry Maltstead, colorist Carl Gafford, letterer John Costanza, and editor Laurie Sutton. Cosmic Boy and a team of 4 legionaries head into the Museum of the Mystic Arts in Mega, California, which has been mysteriously wrecked. Stefan Aki, curator of the museum, believes the intruder was after the Mentacum wand, which the museum had recently acquired. All of a sudden, a mysterious creature calling itself a Servant of the Darkness bursts into the place. In spite of their combined powers, the legionaries are unable to prevent him from grabbing the wand and leaving via a dimensional portal. Meanwhile, in the Legion headquarters, Brainiac 5 and Block discuss Matter Eater Lad's mental state and Chameleon Boy being ostracized by his teammates after dragging them off on a suicide mission which almost caused another Earth Kundia war. In the meantime, Cosmic Boy's team is arriving in London following Stefanaki's theory that Excalibur, which had been in the Tower of London Museum since it was retrieved by Supergirl, was the likeliest next target. Nonetheless, the group gets attacked on their arrival by another Servant of Darkness who, unlike the former Servant who had physical powers resembling Superboy's, had psychic powers but is physically weak. Even so, he manages to make off with Excalibur. Back in the Legion headquarters, Dr. Jimmel is checking Lightning Lad, who is bedridden and unconscious because of a severe electrical brain dysfunction. All of a sudden, Lightning Lad wakes up asking to see Saturn Girl. At the time, Imra is feeling conflicted because her her husband, sister-in-law, and friends will not believe that nothing happened between Timberwolf and her. At the same time, in a dead, forgotten planet, the Master of Darkness is feeding off the magic energy contained by the artifacts stolen by his servants. Back on Earth, Cosmic Boy decides to return to their headquarters for getting some extra firepower and determining their enemy's next target. Following Brainiac 5's predictions, Cosmic Boy, Superboy, Phantom Girl, Shadow Lass, Wildfire, and Invisible Kid traveled to the Institute of Parapsychological Phenomenon on Talok 8 to protect the orb of Orthanax. There, they run into a female servant who is able to manipulate shadows like Shadow Lass. Right when the legionaries are about to take her down, another servant rushes into place riding an astro harness. Blasts Phantom Girl down, snatches the orb, and escapes into another dimensional portal. His female partner rushes towards the portal, but it vanishes before she can reach it. Superboy quickly knocks her out. The team returns to their headquarters right when Element Lad is announcing his candidacy for Legion leader, and both Dream Girl and Ultra Boy announce they'll run against him. While the legionaries are arguing, a message of the President of Earth warns them Chameleon Boy will be tried for treason the next day. Shortly after, Superboy and Shadowlass are carrying the Servant of Darkness to Computo. While discussing that, for some reason, they get spooked by the first and last servants respectively. As they are placing the female on a stretcher, Computo has a nightmare because of the servant's proximity. Meanwhile, in the barren world, the master feeds off the orb. Once he's done, the master no longer needs or wants to steal power of objects, so he decides to leave his dead world to leech off power of the living. Okay. All right. Good start. First issue, I was already into it, but this is like one of the things that always made me hesitant about like jumping in the Legion. I'm just like, man, there's so many characters. There is a lot going on.
So many Legionnaires. Yes, there are
Yes.
lots of Legionnaires, but
not even all of them are on active duty.
Wait till we get to the 294, right? Question for you: Did you know who the villain was before you read it?
Oh, the master? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because that was apparently that was a big deal back in the day. You know, who was it? Yeah. I mean, because it was month to month. You know, this here internet thing didn't exist yet.
Yeah, I kind of heard, and I was looking at the covers before I started reading. I saw his head on the end. I was like, oh yeah, I remember. Hearing about this. Yeah.
But I mean, I think,
and again, you know what? I mean, the Astro Glider thing was kind of like a big clue, and then just like, I don't know if it was this issue, but one of the upcoming issues, the Master's eye beams. I was like, okay, yeah, there's a big clue.
So the 4 darkness things we have. Do you want to reveal that now, or do you want to wait till we find out later?
Oh, I don't care if you want to. Yeah. No.
So you've got an adult Superman, right?
Yes.
You have Orion.
Yes.
And you have a Guardian.
Right?
And then Lydia Malor, the ancestor of Phantom Girl, right? So, but yeah, I thought it was interesting that he used a Guardian, because the Legion. There's a story, I think, in the Legion. I think it was going to be in the next issue, that 295, that said it explained why Green Lanterns weren't allowed on Earth, but there were lanterns in that time period at least. So that's kind of cool. But
yeah, I can't. If I read any more, that's probably gonna be one of my next things. I saw the blurb in the app. It says, he's like, why aren't there any like Green Lanterns?
Because we kind of like those guys.
Yes. 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 Catch an episode tomorrow, kid.
Exactly. So one of the cool things about Paul Levitz, the writer, he was also publisher, of DC, oh yeah, for quite a while. But he actually, if you Google it, the Levitz Paradigm. If you Google the Levitz Paradigm, it's basically a way to write a team book. You have A plot, B plot, C plot, and D plot, and you would A, B, C, D would start, and then he would, elevate D to C, then C to B, and then B to A. And it was the way you could stretch out and actually plot, a big team book with all these subplots and everything. It's a really cool thing from a writing standpoint.
And wasn't he pretty young when he started writing this?
I think so. I think he was. Well, I'll look it up, but I think he was probably in his early 30s when he was writing this. Maybe.
Oh, I thought he was younger than that. Okay. Huh.
I don't know, but I will check.
Unless I'm thinking of somebody else, but I did see in the notes here, Supergirl retrieved Excalibur in Action Comics 267,
which is in the early 60s, I think, right?
Let me open up the link here. 1960.
There we go. Nice.
So yeah, I mean, at the point this book came out, they were referencing something from 22 years ago, in 1982.
Yeah, he was born in 56.
Okay.
So he was just 26 then when he was writing this. Wow, that is impressive. Very impressive.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I thought he was kind of young, but
Probably.
although I don't know if anyone beats Jerry Conway. I think he was like 16 or 17 when he started
Yeah.
writing Spider-Man.
Or Shooter. Shooter was like 14, I think, when he wrote his first Legion story.
Oh, maybe that's who I was thinking about. Shooter. Jeez, oh man.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean this. So we've gotten 5 issues. That's really 6 issues, right?
Yeah.
And this thing has a pretty epic scope. I mean, we're talking about the galaxy and, turning 3 billion Daxamites into, supermen and then mentally enslaving them to do your bidding is kind of a potent army, right?
Oh yeah. And unlike writers who would write the Legion in the future, I mean, yeah, 5 issues. It doesn't seem to drag at all. I mean, it's
It moves.
frantic pace the whole time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And plus, there's still time for those little subplots, between Saturn Girl and what's his name? God, I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, I keep getting mixed up with the names that I know from the reboot Legion.
Oh yeah.
But
Which one? Which reboot?
the first reboot, not the 3 boot, just the reboot. But yeah, I mean, it was, yeah, I mean, it's very well put together. But we were commenting earlier, before we got on, that just the amount of text on the page. I mean, it reads still really well. I mean, it's 40 years old, but it still reads really well. It's just it's so different from a book if you picked it up today. There's a lot less text.
Oh yeah, because I think they like to show off the art more. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the masters of like this, like the 80s, yeah, they were cramming text and
Chris Claremont. Excuse me.
Oh, please. Half the time you couldn't even see what was going on in the panel. There was so much text. I mean, you needed to like schedule like a couple hours off every day if you're going to read a Chris Claremont issue.
You definitely got your money's worth. I mean, toward early on, he was at his prime during a certain period, and then later on, I think it kind of got worse. And it was, but he's Chris Claremont. He gets to do.
That Shadow King was monologuing. Oh, but I do know what I wanted to bring up. Speaking of Legion news, I believe the coming out this week is let me double check my list. Yes, Justice League versus Legion of Superheroes number 5. Speaking of Bendis,
I thought that was over already. It seems to have been dragging on.
It's been late because number 1 came out in January.
Oh, okay, that explains why.
Yes. Yeah. So now, yes, we're recording this towards the end of August here. Yes, number 5 is coming out.
Is it a 6-issue series?
I think, yeah.
Okay, I need to pull those out and read them.
Yeah, but I mean 6 issues. It should have been done in June, Will.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Because in 9 days, 10 days, it's going to be September. So
yeah. Well, that's what me and Loth were saying, and we said this like a few times, where it's like, maybe Bendis shouldn't be writing books. Maybe I don't know if he might be better suited for as an editor, like a big picture man. Come up with a big idea, then have someone else execute it.
Well, I think he's a good writer. I think maybe he stretches himself too thin. Maybe. I don't know.
And again, I don't know if he's the right choice for cosmic stuff. Again. And like especially characters like he created or co-created, like Jessica Jones, Miles Morales, Naomi, him and David F. Walker,
lots of street level stuff.
Yeah. Even his Ultimate Spider-Man wasn't bad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil. I mean, yeah.
Just when he gets near those Avengers or X-Men or Superman. Ages up his kid,
It's kind of a big deal now, right?
Oh yeah, people. A lot of people don't like that. Yeah. All right. So should we get to the next issue?
You got it.
Everyone's like, "What happens next? What happens next?"
The Master of Darkness returns.
What is this? A Metallica song?
That's right.
All right, Legion of Superheroes, 291, September 1982. Great Darkness Saga, Chapter 2, A Sign of Darkness Dawning. Writer Paul Levitz, let me see again. I was gonna say same team, but I believe letterer now is Annette Kowecki. So, that's right. We do it. Well, yeah, we got a backup story in this too.
Oh yeah, it's like an 8-pager, right? So
Yeah,
I forgot that.
Of leaders and lovers. Yes. Levitz wrote that also, but penciler Howard Bender, inker Rodin Rodriguez, Carl Gafford, letterer Janice Chiang.
Hey, from Quasar.
Oh yeah. From a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah. All right. So for the main story, Mon-El and Shadowlass are analyzing the unconscious servant of darkness captured by the Legion. It turns out that she's a clone made of inanimate matter of Shadowlass's ancestor, Lydia Malor, who had been dead for almost 1,000 years. Shadowlass is trying to process that information when all legionaries are called to the planning election meeting. Meanwhile, in Avalon, the Master of Darkness breaks Mordrew free, and with insulting ease, he absorbs Mordrew's powers. At the same time, in the Legion headquarters, Chameleon Boy is meeting with his lawyer, who thinks his case is hopeless. The servant lying in stasis in the lab starts stirring slightly, and in the main meeting room, the legionaries are arguing over the leader's election when Dream Girl has a vision of her sister, White Witch, on Naltor being attacked by the servants of the darkness. At the same time, the Legion is warned about a major disturbance on Takron Galtos, as well as Mordrew being freed in Avalon. Ultra Boy and 3 other legionaries put an end to the riot and find the Time Trapper worn out and shaking inside his now broken cell. Shadowlass and Ultra Boy notice some kind of nearby dimensional portal cloaked in darkness. Not even Ultra Boy's vision can pierce through. Infuriated at Ultra Boy trying to look upon his master, one of the servants dashes out of the portal and attacks the legionaries. However, they manage to drive him back into the portal. Back on Earth, Saturn Girl remains by Lightning Lad's bedside, who remains in a coma due to some strange electrical fever. Meanwhile, in Avalon, the Legion finds Mordrew has been easily defeated and gotten his power drained by the Master of Darkness. On Naltor, the Legion arrives in time to stop a servant from kidnapping White Witch. During the battle, Invisible Kid tries to sneak into the portal, but he's spotted by the Master in spite of his invisibility and blasted down. However, the Master decides the Legion is giving his servant more trouble than what White Witch is worth, and he teleports himself and his minion away. In the aftermath of the battle, the Legion takes Invisible Kid to a hospital, and Dream Girl has another vision where the Legion fights the servants again in the Sorcerer's world and gets defeated.
That's right.
That's right.
Did we get the? Oh, then we get the backup story.
Yep. At Legion of Leaders and Lovers, at Legion headquarters, Saturn Girl is trying to use her telepathy to ease her unconscious husband's mind when she feels Cosmic Boy calling her. Cosmic Boy is explaining that they're trying to conduct the elections quickly over a remote hookup due to the ongoing conflict. When he gets ambushed, Saturn Girl reluctantly leaves Lightning Lad's bedside and rushes to Cosmic Boy's assistance. Saturn Girl finds Cosmic Boy fighting the servant whom the Legion had captured. She's now free and quite furious because her master has cut her off. As the servant spreads her darkness all over the place, Saturn Girl tries to contact Lightning Lad telepathically, but he doesn't answer. The servant knocks both legionaries out and is about to kill them when she gets blasted out of consciousness by lightning bolts. Lightning Lad, who had managed to drag himself to the place, lapses back into unconsciousness. Later, Saturn Girl is placing her husband on the bed and bundling him up. Imra believes Garth's fever was caused by stress unbalancing his electrical powers until his brain collapsed, but it seems to have corrected itself. After listening to her, Cosmic Boy has his own news to share. Dream Girl has been chosen the new leader of the Legion.
That's one thing I like. The Legion board, it just has all of, logograms for each of them, which is pretty cool.
I love how we have multiple crises, but it's like, oh let's do the selection real quick while we're in the
Yeah.
let's put out about 2-3 fighters. Yeah.
It's important.
Again, a lot going on, but again, I enjoyed it. But
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I'm curious, if because we're using Darkseid, right?
Yeah.
So what happened, right? I mean, it's just Darkseid. Where's Apocalypse is his planet. What happened to all the parademons? What happened to all the other new gods?
I mean, I guess eventually, I mean, in the pre-crisis history, the heroes must have, I don't know if they eventually defeated Darkseid, because didn't they say, oh yeah, like after like the 1980s, like, they didn't even know if Apocalypse was real or not, the Legion,
Yeah.
because they're like, oh yeah, after like the 1980s, yeah, it just like became stuff of legend, So I guess Darkseid never reared his head, so I don't know if he was just like in a coma or some kind of like hibernation or something, or
Yeah, because I believe, and I'm not a fourth world expert by any stretch. It never really grabbed me, but
yeah, me neither.
I believe that Orion was supposed to kill Darkseid because Orion was Darkseid's son.
Yeah. Yeah, they did that didn't they do that kid swap? Yeah, and I think, the new god, again, I'm not the biggest fan either, but I'm like, I think that they were like, oh yeah, that'd be one of our major weapons against Darkseid. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, new gods and like Eternals, I was never like the biggest.
Yeah, I only like the
Tom King's Mr. Miracle is good. I could tell it was good because it actually made me give a crap about some of those characters. So
okay, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's mostly focused around Mr. Miracle and Big Barda, but I mean, there are some like fourth world characters coming in and out. But yeah, like if you like the Adam Strange one, you'll like this Mr. Miracle one.
Cool, very cool. So next issue?
Yes. I know it's hard to believe, but that's probably the slow issue.
That's the slow one, yeah. 294 is a lot.
Oh yeah, especially with the extra pages. Yeah. All right, so that's right, kids. That was only 2 parts so far.
Yeah.
All right, Legion of Superheroes number 292, October 1982, The Great Darkness Saga, Chapter 3, Darkness Transcendent. I think we're back, to that original creative team from the first issue. On Takron Galtos, the Legion are helping repair the damage caused by the Master of Darkness before leaving the planet. Shortly after, the security shuttle transporting Chameleon Boy is arriving in the prison planet. Meanwhile, 2 other Legion cruisers are descending upon the Sorcerer's World and heading towards the Teacher's Isle. Dreamgirl has foreseen the Legion being defeated by the Servants of Darkness in Xerox, and she hopes to find a way to prevent it. At the same instant, the cruiser transporting Mon-El, Phantom Girl, Shadow Lass, and Ultra Boy has entered the Zurian atmosphere, where they are attacked by 4 servants. Maddened, Mon-El flies into the portal and heat blasts the Master. Mon-El's attack is completely ineffectual, but he recognizes the Master. The Master blasts Mon-El into the planet below, and Mon-El falls into a coma. Though the Master has peered into his mind and learned Mon-El is a Daxamite and begins developing a new plan. Okay, that's not the end yet, but doesn't the Master be like, oh yeah, you were stuck in the Phantom Zone and saw a lot of stuff over the years, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
So there's another big clue, kids. Meanwhile, on Earth, Cosmic Boy, Lightning Lad, and Saturn Girl are using the Legion's computers to learn that the Master cloned a Guardian of the Universe and Superman himself to make his servants.
Yep.
At the same time, on the Sorcerer's World, the Legion is trying to warn the Xeroxian wizards of the incoming danger. However, the White Witch's teachers don't take their warning seriously until they lift the illusionary force field surrounding their island and see the battle raging. As most of the Legionaries join their teammates, Dreamgirl and her sister remain in the teacher's island. Misa's teachers promise to find an enchantment to aid them. Outside, the Legion tries to fight the servants, but they're too powerful, and the portal summoned by the Masters tearing down the planet and sucking its very mystic energies. Meanwhile, the teachers cast a spell to shift the battle in their favor and summon something through a space warp. A baby.
A baby.
A baby. I have to admit, I didn't see this coming.
Yeah, I didn't either.
White Witch is puzzled, but Dream Girl feels that baby is somehow the opposite of the Master. Back on Earth, Lightning Lad calls all legionaries on active duty. And on the Sorcerer's World, the Legion is forced to retreat back to the Teacher's Island. Dream Girl warns they must protect the island no matter what, so Brainiac 5 activates his force field. Nonetheless, the Master has grown tired of the battle and shatters Brainiac's shields with a single blast. Still, since he's learned valuable information from Mon-El's mind, the Master decides to reward the Legionaries by letting them live so that they can witness his triumph. He leaves. Relieved, Dream Girl tells her team about the child, the teachers, who may be the key to defeat the Master. Oh my God, I'm just looking at this list. They list the Legion of Superheroes members in this issue. Oh my Lord, there's a lot here.
There's a lot.
Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Looks like 26.
So, when you get right down to it, if you're going to have superpowers, you want the Kryptonian / Daxamite power set, right?
Yes.
I mean, come on, right? So the Legion has Superboy. They're going to have Supergirl in just in the next issue. They've got Ultra Boy, who's at times can approach that level. They've got Mon-El. And then they call in some friends later, and they've got even more Kryptonians, fully powered Kryptonians, and they're getting their butts kicked. Okay,
I know.
What does that say?
Because don't they mention that later? They're just like, oh yeah, man, if the Master's powerful enough to put Mon-El in a coma or whatever, he's pretty powerful. Oh my God, but 26 Legion members. In alphabetical order from Block to Wildfire.
And Wildfire was kind of one of their big guns too.
Because he's like, what is he, like energy, or is he fire? Or is he energy? Yeah, he's like an energy. Suit. Yeah,
and he was kind of their hot-headed member, I think, at the time. So
yeah, because at one point they were just like, oh yeah, man, we got our butts kicked, and we had like Superboy and Wildfire.
Yeah.
But no, this is interesting. But yes, again, a lot.
It is a lot, yes.
Again, modern comics could not do this in 5.
No.
This would be at least 12, at least.
It would be. I think I would agree with that.
This would be at least a year of stories, yes.
Maybe more.
And depending who is writing it. Oh yeah.
One thing that does bother me though, if there are Green Lanterns, obviously, it's a Legion of Superheroes book, so I get it. But you would think that if it's a galaxy-wide event, they would have some, Green Lanterns stepping up. If there were Green Lanterns in the future, which there were, then there weren't, then there maybe are. The future is fluid, whatever.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I didn't read that 295, but I mean, they should do something. I mean, is that like the advantage of being in like the 30th or 31st century? It's like you can play with stuff that was from the past, and it's like you can have whoever you want is dead. Most of the heroes we knew from the 21st century are dead. So it's like,
and that's something that's kind of always bothered me. Is every so often they decide to blow up the central power battery, and then the Green Lanterns are gone, then they're back, then they're gone again really quickly, but then they're back. And for a police force that has endured literally for 1 billion years, they seem to get blown up a lot now that Earth's on the scene, right?
Yes.
Sorry, that's annoying. I find that annoying, but that has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with the Legion. So sorry, I digress.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Again, Sector 2814, kids.
We care. We care about the Green Lantern Corps.
If you want to hear from this Hal Jordan lover, yeah. Again, every week on Sector 2814, the Green Lantern podcast.
I, of course, love Hal Jordan.
I do.
See, Ray, own it like Will owns it.
That's right.
All right. All right. Should we get to the next one?
You bet.
All right. Sorry, I was pulling up the schedule, so when we go to read it, I won't be like, oh, where's it at? All right. All right, kids, get to part 4. Legion of Superheroes 293. November 1982. The Great Darkness Saga, Chapter 4, Within the Darkness. Again, it looks like the same team. Again, sometimes like those letterers or the back to Costanza for letterers. Yeah, that's it. But most of the team stays the same. It seems like the letterers maybe kind of start shifting, but
There is a lot of lettering to do.
yes. Oh yeah. They're wearing out their editor or their letterers. Yeah. Costanza. And another backup. Fate is the killer.
Fate is the killer. I don't. What was that one?
With penciler Kurt Swan.
Oh, did I skip over that?
I was going to
Maybe
say
I
that
read it.
doesn't sound familiar to me, but I read it on the app unless they missed it on the app. But let me see. Fate is the killer. Oh, yeah, that's weird because I don't know if they're. Oh, you know why? It wasn't a Legion thing. It was I don't think they had it on the on this one on the app. That's the it was kind of like an ad, but it was like one of those short stories in the middle. It was a
Oh, gotcha.
It was basically an ad for Superman meets He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, oh, wow, that is around that time, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
1982. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I was gonna say I was one of those kids.
I was too, and it was only 2 years out from Transformers.
I was also one of them too. Yes. Oh, please. I'm again 1985. 1982. I was 4. 1984. I was 6. So yes, that was really sad for it. I was there in the theater when Optimus Prime died. Kids, were you?
Yeah. Do you know the real meaning of Prime Day?
I do. I remember he died. I'm like, wait, what? And all it was they were like, they were making a new line of Transformers and they were like discontinuing the old ones. So they just like killed off all these Autobots. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, it was hardcore, man. Hardcore.
Can't have the Autobot old age retirement home or something. All right, kids. So yes, all we were talking about is the Great Darkness Saga, Chapter 4, Within the Darkness. The bulk of the Legion sortie in search of the servants of darkness, except for the leader, Dream Girl, and some Legionnaires who have stayed behind at their headquarters to watch the monitors, the comatose Mon-El, and the baby they picked up in Xerox. Following a lead, Ultra Boy, Phantom Girl, and Shadow Lass are exploring a deserted planet when they're ambushed by 3 servants. On Takron Galtos, Chameleon Boy has just fought off several resentful Durlans when he's visited by his father, who's rather saddened because he didn't even find out about his son's trial until it was over. Since Chameleon Boy wouldn't even talk to him to ask for help, father and son hug each other out of their crying. Meanwhile, the Master of Darkness teleports into Daxam and starts mass brainwashing its population. Well, no comment, no political commentary. At the same time, the reservist legionaries are approaching the Legion headquarters, and the legionaries taking care of the baby notice the child is aging very rapidly.
That's important, I'm sure.
Yes. Back on Daxam, the Master has finished turning the Daxamites into his slaves, and he makes Daxam and his own world switch places so that Daxamites can bathe in the rays of a yellow sun and gain powers. How dangerous are... I mean, do we not have number 2 pencils in the 31st century?
Yeah.
Because again, kids, Daxamites, no, it's not kryptonite, it's lead.
Yeah. And hey, if you want to know about the ultimate Green Lantern, Sodom Yat, who was a Daxamite with a power ring.
Yes. So in 1982, you could have taken out every Green Lantern, including Alan Scott and Daxamites, with a number 2 pencil.
Exactly. It had to be a number 2 yellow pencil.
Yes. And they say the pen was mightier than the sword. Jeez. Shortly after, Dawnstar and Wildfire, tracking the Master down, followed closely by a Legion cruiser. Instead of Daxam, though, they find the Master's world. Following a firelight, both heroes find Ultra Boy, Phantom Girl, and Shadow Lass unconscious and their ship trashed. Suddenly, they're ambushed by 3 servants. Fortunately, 4 more legionaries arrive to join their teammates as Brainiac 5 easily neutralizes the Astro harness-wearing servant by wrapping him up in a force bubble. Wildfire burns the clone Guardian of the Universe to ashes. The Superman clone servant darts toward the group but is intercepted by the real Superboy, who is wearing a Brainiac device to keep his powers under a red sun. On Daxam, the Master orders his mind-controlled slaves to torch their planet's surface and then change his shape to announce his return to the universe. In the meantime, Superboy's fighting his clone, but Brainiac's gadget gets burned off. His clone wants to kill him, but Element Lad forms a lead shield around Superboy and then turns the rock surrounding the Superman clone into gold kryptonite.
Because what does gold kryptonite do, Phil?
Takes their powers away forever.
Ever.
Then Timberwolf finishes them off. Enraged and frightened, the last servant manages to break Brainiac 5's force field and leaps into a space warp. Shortly after, Dreamgirl's cruiser has arrived to pick up her partners. Brainiac 5 says he has deduced the Master's plan as well as his true identity. In the meantime, the Daxamites have finished reshaping the world to their Master's image. The Master of Darkness commands him to go and conquer the universe for him. ... For Darkseid.
Yeah, a lot went on this issue as well.
Yes.
But I mean, that's how Silver Age is that. We got some gold K out of this.
Yes. At least it wasn't red, man.
Yeah.
That servant would have grown like a giant ant head or something.
Exactly.
And I don't think we'll ever do pink kryptonite again. All right. Well, so thoughts on this? Because again, you're much more knowledgeable in Legion than I am.
Well, to be honest, most of my Legion comes from like right before 0 Hour and then 0 Hour on, so the reboot. But I had read this. I do have. Can you see? Legion Archives up here. So, but the Legion first appeared in Adventure Comics, 242, I think, way back. Like, I think it was it late 50s, maybe?
Is that the one I've seen the cover where it's
They're
like
voting
on Superboy? Was that it? Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that cover.
And they kind of appeared sporadically.
Well, yeah, when they first appeared, weren't they traveling back in time to like meet him in Smallville or something?
I think so.
Because then eventually after Crisis, when Byrne said, yeah, Superman was never Superboy, they're like, oh crap, we have to explain this.
Sorry, it was Adventure Comics 247, and that was in April of 1958.
Guess we'll forgive you.
Wow. Yeah, I'm getting old and senile. But then I think they appeared as backups in like Adventure Comics, and then maybe some Action Comics, and then they started showing up regularly in Superboy and the Legion, and then it became the Legion, and then they got their own series because they were super popular, really because of Keith Giffen, Paul Levitz. They were a really great team on it, and then Crisis happened.
Yes. I was gonna say we could really twist people's brains. You know what we should have added for one of these weeks? That burn thing, you know, where they explained, you know, how are they going back and meeting Superboy when Superman was never Superboy?
It's a pocket universe. Sorry.
Oh, oh my God, he's been waiting the whole time. That's why he wore a shirt with a pocket on it.
That's right. It was years of preparation just for that gag.
Oh my God, we should have did that this month just to be like, hey kids, look at this mess.
Well, and then, you know, Supergirl didn't exist, so she got retconned into being, I think, Andromeda, who was another Daxamite. And then, because there was this great love affair between
Oh yeah,
Brainiac 5 and Supergirl, and
yeah,
you know,
yeah, because there was no Kryptonian Supergirl after Crisis. You know,
Yeah.
they all mourned her during Crisis. Then 5 minutes after Crisis,
she never existed.
everyone forgot who she was. Everyone still remembered Barry Allen. It's like,
Yeah. Crisis was, hey, you know what? Let's have a dark Crisis. How about we do that, Phil?
aren't they all dark?
We're having a crisis again. Almost 40, 35, 36 years later.
Dude, you're pushing my ADHD because now I'm thinking, you know what? The next 2 weeks we were going to do stuff around the 0 hour. I'm like, we might have to consolidate that into the 1 week and do that pocket universe stuff next week. I don't know.
I don't know, the pocket universe stuff. Well, then we get the Lightning
It's
Saga.
exhausting. It's exhausting.
But then we get the Lightning Saga in the rebooted Justice League book,
Oh
right?
God, yeah.
Which
Yeah.
was this version of the Legion, not
Yeah.
the reboot Legion or the 3-boot Legion, I think, which was around at that time. Anyway,
that's the other confusing thing. That was always the other confusing thing for me because it's like every time you did a Crisis, they got hit the worst with retcons, and
oh yeah,
it's just like, wait a minute. So, wait, who is what was changed? What? Who is what?
everything changes. All the
Like if
time.
I was reading stuff closely, I could like keep track of the changes. But yeah, like I said, I never read a ton of Legion, so I was like, wait a minute.
Well, I mean, and they kind of disassociated themselves from Superboy as the founder. They said it was Superman, but then because there
Yeah.
wasn't a Superboy anymore, but then there was again, and then
Well, yeah, during the whole burn thing, didn't they say they were just like
Yeah.
inspired by Superman, but they
Yeah.
hadn't? Yeah.
But the reboot Legion 0 Hour Up was a lot of fun because they had 2 books, Legionnaires and Legion of Superheroes, and it was good.
Oh, we'll kind of get there around 0 hour in the next 2 weeks. So
Yeah. Cool. But since 1958, they've been around a little bit.
I mean, start doing projects, you know, live action animate, do more animation with Legion. I mean, you got enough characters, man. Jeez.
Yeah, no kidding. And there was an animated series that I've never seen. You know, it's on. I guess it's on HBO Max, or maybe it's not anymore. I don't know.
Yeah. What was it, like Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes,
or Legion of Superheroes in the 30th century, or something like
Oh,
that.
something. Yeah, because
there was an animated comic based on it, I think.
Here, let me open. I'm opening up my HBO Max app now. I will look for you. What was it like? What was it? Legion of Superheroes in the 30th.
I think so.
Okay, let me see. Yeah, I'd seen that too, and I never watched it. And I mean, I heard it was good.
I should watch that. If it's on there, should be on there. One would hope it's on there.
It's not showing Legion of. Wait. Wait. I'm not seeing it.
Superman the animated. They showed up on Superman the animated series in 1998.
Yeah, some of them showed up in one of those Lego things, Lego Justice League Attack.
Oh, it's Legion of Superheroes. It's just what it's called. It's on Kids WB in 2006.
Huh. Yeah, but my HBO Max app saying it's. I'm typing in Legion of Superheroes. It's saying it's not. Huh. Darn it. Unless there's like rights issues or something. I don't know.
They showed up in Smallville too.
Yes.
That was in 2008.
Oh, some of them showed up in Young Justice this last season.
They get in the Flash episode Welcome to Earth 2, they see an image of a Legion flight ring.
Yes.
Cool. And then didn't they show up in Supergirl as well?
Yeah. Mon-El, Mon-El, who was from the present, went to the future. Eventually, Brainiac 5 stayed behind. So yeah. The two big ones from Supergirl were like Mon-El and Brainiac 5. So yeah, I mean they've been all over the place.
Mm-hmm. And the rebooted Legion, Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, who did Nova and brought back Quasar and all that fun stuff. The Guardians of the Galaxy. They did the reboot. They were the end of the reboot. And then the 3-boot was launched with some, I don't know if anybody's heard of this writer. His name's Mark Waid. Do you know who that is? Barry Kitson, which was, it was renamed Supergirl in the Legion, I think, like about issue 20 or so.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I read that either, but Oh, Mark Waid, you say?
Hi, this is Mark Waid, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Nice. And then I think during Final Crisis, there was a Legion of Three Worlds 3-issue series.
Yeah,
I had all 3 legions in it.
I think we're doing that. Yeah, we're doing that towards the end of the month. Yeah, so. All right, Will, but let's get to this last issue, man.
It's a long one. All right, take a drink.
I was going to say, we kind of left that last one on a giant cliffhanger, Will. Darkseid with a bunch of hypnotized angry Daxamites. All right. Legion of Superheroes 294 from December 1982. The Great Darkness Saga conclusion. Darkseid. Same team. After overlooking the ruins littering the landscape, Brainiac 5 deduces that place is Apocalypse. Ergo, the master is Darkseid. Since nobody had heard of Apocalypse since the 20th century, its existence had become a forgotten, little-known myth. After telling his teammates all he knows about Darkseid, Dreamgirl decides the Legion will need all of their allies, so she calls Supergirl, who resigned several years before, and the Legion of Substitute Heroes. At the same time, the brainwashed billions of Daxamites have started to carve a path of destruction through the galaxy, and nothing can seem to stop them. Several substitute legionaries and members of the Science Police regroup in Weber's world at the edge of the United Planets and try to hold the line for as long as possible. Meanwhile, a Legion cruiser is heading towards Daxam to take the war to Darkseid. The legionaries on board are guarding the baby summoned by the Xerox's wizards, who has become a child within hours. Suddenly, they're intercepted by the last servant of darkness who claims he'll spare their lives if they surrender the baby. The legionaries refuse to, so the servant has a legion of Daxamites tearing their ship apart. Afterward, the servant picks up the baby and leaves. However, the legionaries traveling in the destroyed cruiser aren't dead yet. White Witch cast a protective spell just in time. Her magic has created some kind of force bubble which holds the ship's atmosphere together and shields them from the cold and radiation, but it will not last forever. Desperate, White Witch summons her last remaining strength to cast a spell before passing out. White Witch comes around in the Legion HQ infirmary. She and her partners were picked up by a rescue party after Saturn Girl got her signal. Saturn Girl also explains they need her magic to duplicate Darkseid's space warps so that the Legion can attack him before he has a chance to kill the kidnapped child. White Witch succeeds in creating a boom tube and 3 Legion cruisers speed through it. Meanwhile, on Legion HQ, Colossal Boy and Shrinking Violet are attacked by another servant. While Colossal Boy keeps the servant busy, Shrinking Violet slips inside her body and blocks her bloodstream, causing a stroke. And she's like, that blood's cold. On Daxam, the Legion is keeping the Daxamites busy while Shadowlass and Lightlass try to rescue the child. Meanwhile, White Witch remains in a cruiser too exhausted to join the battle. Suddenly, she hears the child's voice. He previously gave her power enough to send her a distress signal, and he needs to give her power again so she can help her friends. On Daxam, Element Lad follows Brainiac 5's advice and turns part of the atmosphere into lead, taking the Daxamites out. At the same time, White Witch undoes Darkseid's planetary transferal. Nonetheless, Darkseid runs out of patience and defeats all legionaries at once by making their worst nightmares real. Shadowlass wraps herself in the child up in a shadow sphere. Impatient, Darkseid commands his last servant to fetch the child. The servant leaps into the shadows, and Darkseid hears a mother box ticking.
What could that be?
Feeling suddenly scared, Darkseid shreds Shadowlass's bubble. A fully grown Isaiah emerges out of the shattered bubble to fight him. He's weak after being reborn and can only exist in the present momentarily, but he has still enough power to restore Darkseid's servant, a cloned Orion, to his real form, as well as heal the legionaries while the Orion clone engages Darkseid. Before fading, Isaiah uses his Highfather uses his last remaining power to summon the two heroes whose adventures inspired the Legion's existence. Meanwhile, Darkseid overpowers and destroys Orion's clone. He's celebrating his triumph when he's hit by Superboy and Supergirl. Highfather summons them at the same time, amping their powers up so they weren't hindered by a red sun. Darkseid angrily blasts Superboy back to his own time, but Supergirl fights on. Her struggle gives the Legion time enough to regroup around Darkseid, and Saturn Girl declares he's lost. Perplexed, Darkseid expands his senses and realizes that his long slumber has made him too weak to fight the Legion and simultaneously control 3 billion slaves. The Daxamites are now free, and the Legion's allies are leading them to him. Darkseid angrily admits he has lost, and after warning the darkness will keep growing within them until destroying them, he vanishes, taking Apocalypse with him. In the aftermath, the White Witch joins the Legion. Late Last quits, and Brainiac 5 tells Supergirl he's finally over his crush on her. Kara, before she leaves for the 20th century, remarks that is a pity, since she was noticing how cute he was. Brainiac 5. He's like, wait, what?
Damn it.
Brainiac 5 stays a long time with his open mouth before going back to headquarters, cursing his timing.
The curse, by the way. I had to look it up because I didn't remember what it was. The curse is that one of the Legion villains, Validus, is so months later, Saturn Girl goes into labor, but she only has one kid because she gets enveloped in darkness, but there was actually twins there. Darkseid takes the other twin, sends it back in time, and transforms it into Validus, and it becomes the Validus that they fight in the future. I think they finally figure that out later, but I don't remember when they figure that out.
Comics, kids.
Yes.
Just looking at some of the notes here. As mentioned in a footnote, Supergirl had resigned from the team in Superboy 204. The splash page announces that this issue is dedicated to Jack Kirby. Several of his fourth world characters were part of this saga.
And that was a giant sized issue too. It was,
oh yeah. But yeah, Supergirl resigned in Superboy 204 from October 1974.
Okay. Okay, so this is the first time you've read this, Phil.
Yes.
Granted, you didn't get to read it
Yeah, no.
without foreknowledge of everything that's going on, but what do you think, man?
It's good. I mean, it makes me want to read more Legion, especially from this era.
Yeah, this was a really great era for the Legion.
Oh, yeah.
At least from everything that I've read. I want to go back and read a bunch of these things too, and I've just never got around to it for some reason.
Like I said, I at least want to read that next issue with the whole Green Lantern thing, because
somebody likes them. I don't know who that would be.
Us.
Totally us.
So does
it live up to its hype? I mean,
I thought so. I thought it was good. Yeah, man.
I think so too. I mean, it's dense. I hadn't realized just how dense books from back then. I haven't read a book from the 80s in a while.
And I mean, they bring a big enough threat to to warrant bringing in every member of the Legion ever. I mean, Darkseid and 3 billion Daxamites. Okay, yeah, okay.
That'll work. That will definitely work.
And again, you could do big, huge, universe-shaking things, kids. Without it seems like DC always wants to destroy the multiverse every 2 months. It's like you're not gonna do that, man.
It doesn't.
Darkseid, baby.
Hey, wait. You know what? I'm gonna punch through time.
Yes.
Or I'm gonna punch something and it's gonna cause problems with the time. I can't remember which crisis that was.
Oh, Superboy Prime, wasn't that Infinite Crisis?
I think that was Infinite Crisis. Yeah,
that was him breaking out for Infinite Crisis. Yeah, and it brings
and punching through time was, of course, DC 1 million.
Yes, which we already covered. Yeah,
yep.
Superboy Prime punched the wall, and Jason Todd woke up severely injured in his own coffin. Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's originally how they brought it back, because everyone was like, they didn't reveal it right away. Everyone's like, oh yeah, it was Lazarus Pits, and everyone's like, no, they were like, no, nothing, that's too easy. But then I think once New 52 hit, they're like, yeah, it was Lazarus Pit.
Yeah, of course. Good times.
Seriously. All right, so anything else on this?
Nope. This was. I'm glad you suggested we read this. This was a good read.
I mean, again, this is the one I always heard about more than any other Legion story. So, all right, so yeah, but next week, yeah, we're gonna start basically 2 weeks. We're gonna be doing around 0 hour, because next week we'll be doing Legionaries number 18 and number 0, Valor number 23, because I think it kind of has something, and Legion of Superheroes 61 and number 0.
Gotcha.
Then in 2 weeks, I believe it's probably like the next month or whatever, we're going to do Legion of Superheroes 62 through 65 and Legionaries 19 through 22.
Cool.
And then in 3 weeks, because remember, we got 5 weeks this month, kids. In 3 weeks, we're not going to go issue by issue with this. Legion Lost 1 through 12.
That'll be a summary.
Yes.
But
yes.
by Dan Abnett, Andy Lanning, and the artist. Such an amazing artist. I cannot remember his name.
Don't worry, we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, okay, cool. Yeah, that's.
And then for the final week of the month, we'll do Final Crisis, Legion of 3 Worlds. Again, kids, my Legion knowledge is limited, so yes, Mr. Allred here will help me pick these out. So.
Oh well, okay, yeah. But I don't know as much as I should know.
Yeah,
I haven't read every story.
You know more than me.
There are some true Legion experts out there that I don't hold a candle to, but.
I mean, you almost have to be a full-time like almost a full-time Legion fanboy, over like any other character, pretty much. I mean, there's so
just
much
to keep the continuity straight,
and all the characters, yeah.
Because I think when Jeff Johns was writing, was it Action Comics or Superman? Didn't he also bring them back?
Yeah, he did.
They showed up there, and that was this version of the Legion, not. I think, I don't know anymore.
Again, I don't know why they don't play that up more, because between crises and just the time travel nature of it, you can always like play with like the Legion's coming back. Well, which version? There's like there could be like 3, 4, 5 different versions. It could be.
I really think that one of the great things about what Levitz was doing is that it was its own thing. Yeah, sure, it had connections to the past, but it got to a point where there was so much dependence on what happens earlier that when Crisis came around, it just it dealt it a fatal blow. I mean, it really did.
And yeah, the whole Superboy thing again, that was a major thing.
And then, the Legion was rebooted, not really rebooted, but they canceled the series and started the numbering over. And it was 5 years later. And I haven't read those. It's one of those things I want to read. It preceded the reboot. That was the series that that the reboot happens in because of 0 Hour, but it was pretty controversial among Legion fans because it was a darker, grittier take on the Legion, which I'm not a big fan of dark and gritty,
no,
but you know.
no. No, like I said, you know, this pre-crisis stuff speaks to me. I mean, I'm sure if once I dip my toe in the other stuff, you know, maybe the 0 Hour stuff, I'll be like, oh yeah, it's great too.
I think there's a hardcover of Great Darkness.
Probably.
And I think there might be an omnibus of some of the Levitz stuff. I don't know. I'll have to look to make sure, but I think they've collected it. And I don't know how far along the Legion archives got. I'll do some research and let you know.
Okay. Yeah. Again, we got 4 more weeks, Will. Yes. Keep us updated. All right. So anything else?
I think that's it.
All right, Legionaries. Come back next week. I already gave you the list. Email us all the thoughts, or hey, send us your thoughts on the Great Darkness Saga. We'll read it on an upcoming episode. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can follow Unlimited Justice on Facebook, on Twitter. Join the Justice League, Justice Society Facebook fan group. Find links to all the various social medias for all the various DC and Marvel shows we do. Links to the YouTube channel. Again, it's completely free. Everything we do, everything in Sub-tember, we'll get a video up there. So smash that subscribe button so you don't miss a second of it.
Smash it.
And oh my God, she was like, she's like, you didn't need fill-in hosts. She's like, you could have just did shows with my drops, because I almost have 2 full pages of Hellfire. Like, yeah, probably.
It's true.
And of course, yes, most importantly, please subscribe to the Patreon. We're paying for this out of our own pocket. Every little bit helps, but $3 to $5 gets you early access to creator interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats.
I got the good mic out for you guys.
And because Lilith Hellfire loves pain, as Will can now attest, superhero movie brackets, we will find the worst superhero movie of all time. By the time you hear this on the podcast, we'll have recorded the August episode, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen versus Sin City 2, A Dame to Kill For. And every time I say that, Lilith goes, a whore to kill for. Because we're like, yeah, Frank Miller has some issues with women.
I think you are probably right.
Yes. And then September, we're doing the Phantom versus the Spirit.
Okay.
And then October, we're doing Spawn versus Meteor Man.
Okay.
We're corrupting some youth, because I wonder if Ray's going to watch, because Ray's like, I've never watched Meteor Man before. And everyone else is like, oh. Well.
I remember seeing the ads, but I have thankfully never been exposed to Meteor Man before.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I just remember.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Was it like early 90s? I think was it like 93 or something. So yeah, a superhero movie around 1993. Well, yes, that pretty much explains itself.
That's gonna be awesome.
All right, kids. So yes, subscribe to the Patreon, or pick your all up. So Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks merch. Find it all at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics. All right, Mr. William Allred, master of the Green Lantern Corps, master of the Quantum Zone, master of the crossover division. That's right, kids. He has his own creator-owned comic crossover division, which you can sign up for, because I'm sure the next issue will be on Kickstarter eventually. And he does another podcast. Well, besides with me, but yes, he does another podcast. So, Will, tell them all about all of that.
Well, you can find me at Wallred. That's at WALLRED at Gmail or Twitter or Facebook and other social media things that I've probably forgotten I set up. I usually hang out more on Twitter, though. And as Phil said, I am the writer and creator of Crossover Division, which we just funded our 4th issue, which is going to go to print hopefully in about 5 weeks once we finish the art. So that'll be done. And then we'll be doing a collected edition again on Kickstarter, which should be a lot of fun. But you can check that out at crossoverdivision.com. And then you can also check out previous work at diaryofnight.com. And I also get to annoy other people besides Phil writer Kevin Joseph and I hang out every Friday night on a podcast called Explain Yourself, where we bring on comic Kickstarter creators and let them explain themselves and showcase their work and talk about their projects. It's a lot of fun. And finally, you obviously have great taste, so you probably love Quasar. And if you do, then you should go to the Quantum Zone and find out all the things that you can about him. And that's quantumzone.org. I'll put it in my navel.
Hey, boys, look at the party. I love the party.
I could see some crossover between Quasar fans and Legion fans.
I think so.
I hope it's going somewhere nice. Seems like I'm getting a package every other day. I, of course, love how Jordan.
Yes, kids, and we're recording it the same way, but also, yes, if you're listening to this on the podcast, yes, me and Will return tomorrow for an episode of Sector 2814, the Green Lantern podcast.
That's right. And what are we doing tomorrow, Phil?
I don't know if it's going to line up recording the one we're recording tomorrow. It probably isn't the one that's going to be on the podcast. So that's why I wasn't being specific, Will.
Okay. We're going to do some Green Lantern stuff tomorrow. It's going to be fun.
Yes, kids. I mean, right now we're in the 1999 era.
Yep.
So, but yes, we go in chronological order for Green Lantern kids. So Will's just waiting for Green Lantern Rebirth for Hal Jordan to return.
We're almost in this millennium.
Yes, in this century. That's right, kids. We're talking about the late 1900s.
God, I'm so old.
I know. I feel old in here, older than me.
Ow! Thanks, man.
I didn't say about how much. Hey, Ray's older than me by 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah, Ray's older than me
by 2 months. Okay.
He always says we're the same vintage. He's such a wine drinker. He's like same vintage. But yeah, kids, come back next week for more Legion. Sub-tember continues, but until then, come get yourself some justice, some unlimited justice. Get some.